Shorties.
Hi, Shorty. Fingers crossed, StreamYard's being a little bitch tonight, apparently. Very frustrating when we're professionals here. I'm fucking professional.
She's a fucking professional. No goddamn it.
Miss Shorty, you're muted. Miss Shorty, you're muted.
God, yes.
Endearing, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, faith breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Trial watching, trials and tribulations. It's Camp Shorty calling all nations. What are you drinking? Shall we skip this part? Left or right-handed? Shit, she slid it to the start. She's a fucking professional. Yo, goddammit. You're muted, what? And daring, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, faith breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Psychology corner. Let's learn about stuff. New Miss Shorty music. Calling their bluff. Best chat, best community. We've got the best minds. A safe, supportive sanctuary full of fun and love. Rock out with your cats down. Curse all you want. And here at Camp Shorty, we even say God. She's a fucking professional. Yo, goddammit. You're muted, what? And daring, it's iconic. Cheese breaks, faith breaks, staying hydrated. It's Shorty time. She's a fucking delight. Hey, Shorties, what's doing, y'all? Get in here, Shorties. Let's fucking go. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty. Camp Shorty.
Hi! I forgot to put myself on the stage. Hi, Shorties. It's like, hi, good to see you.
Oh, hi, hello, and hey there, chat. You think we can behave? We have a guest here, they're backstage. It's time to act our age. Hey, Shorties, don't be too naughty, and I will try my best. Hey, Shorties, we've got this, y'all. Tonight will be Profesh. I know that I can trust you, friends, to mind your P's and Q's. Let's keep things tight and sensible together, me and you. Hey, Shorties, don't be too naughty, and I will try my best. Hey, Shorties, we've got say hi.
Hey, shorties. Oh my God, the dogs are like, yes. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday in the States. Happy Thursday in Australia, I think. Who even knows what time it is, what day it is? Let me do the usual thing. You know the drill. Pig's ears. Pig's ears for the dogs, for the friends. There's a little ladies one. Whew, the big boys one. Not to be sexist, but Poppy's very ample. She doesn't need extra. Hello. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see you. I can't see a thing. Ms. Woosie's in the house. I can see. Simmy, Salty, Stephanie, Michael. Salty says, I don't know how to be professional. It's a lifelong goal, Salty. It's a lifelong goal. Akasha, good to see you, friend. Who else? Ms. What the fuck is here? Whoa, my scroll game is, whoa, hectic. No surprise, really. No surprise. Mr. Schmoe is both in the chat and backstage. So, Ms. Rizzy says the puppers need all the extra, whatever it is, they need it. Yeah, attention. Mostly it's attention. Trust me. Now, a few little housekeeping things before we get straight into it, because you don't want to hear me yammer on today. We want to hear Joe yammer on as much as possible. He's promised us some of the tea, perhaps not all of the tea, from CrimeCon. I can't wait. But replay crew, hi. If you would like to watch the live chat replay on your handheld device, your iPhone, your Android, easy peasy. All you do is go to the comment tab and there's a couple of little dots up the top right-hand corner and you just swipe left on the comment tab and it will give you the option to watch the live chat replay as well as hyping, liking, and please leave a comment. If you've got any further questions after this chat, I'm sure if I see them, I will pass them on to Schmo and perhaps he will be able to answer them for us. But chat, if you do have any questions, chat here now, live chat, hi. Drop them in the chat. I will star them and we'll get to them at the end, unless they're pertinent to what we're talking about at the moment, at the time, okay? Ms. Shorty, are you going to CrimeCon in the UK? I'm thinking of going. I just don't know if I can afford it. I absolutely can't afford that. That would be probably a $10,000 round trip for me from Australia to the UK. I don't have $10,000, nor do I have a job. So probably not, but that. Hi, Miss Mandy Reacts. Good to see you, girl. Now, what else is there? We'll have this timestamped for you down below, also replay crew, within, I don't know, some hours. By tomorrow? Yes. One more thing, and then I'm going to bring Joe Schmoe, Mr. Schmoe, shouldn't just call you Schmoe, sorry, sir, up on stage. After this stream, there's another stream directly after. It's scheduled for 2 hours. If Joe and I run out of things to say before then, we'll go earlier. If we go longer, it'll be later. But we are building together a Camp Shorty cookbook. Love you all to come along. There's a portal already set up, and come hang there. We always have a fun time. Ms. Woozy says, well, wait, why did I think you were British for a second? Because I'm very posh and I speak with a very posh accent until you hear Nick talk and then you realize I am so Australian. Now, without further ado, let me bring our great friend of the channel. And if you're not already subscribed to Joe Schmoe, please do. Mods, can you drop it into chat throughout? Joe's also on Twitter, but we will get him to tell us all that stuff without further ado. Mr. Schmoe, hi.
Miss Shorty, hi. What an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you back again. It's been a minute, hasn't it?
It has been a minute. Yeah.
Although you make an appearance every single time we go live because you are in the intro. That is Joe Schmoe telling me, Miss Shorty, you're muted. So
I noticed
chuckle
that
every
this
time.
time. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Ms. What the Fuck did that made that video for my 50th birthday and stream anniversary, and we decided to leave it as the intro because it's bloody excellent. And I do love that little section where you say, Miss Shorty, you're muted. Now, sir, you were at CrimeCon in Denver at the start of the month, right?
Correct. Yes, I was. What an experience. Hi, Shorties. Hi, Camp Shorty. Prayers
Yay.
for Salty's dad and Ms. Woozy's mom
Okay, yeah. Okay,
for
yeah.
recovery from whatever it is they're dealing with. So that first. But then, yes, CrimeCon.
You have you pause. Can you just show the shorties your mug before I go into official duties of interviewing? Yes, yes. All guests on Camp Shorty get themselves a Camp Shorty mug. So love that Joe reps that. Thank you so much. So have you ever been to CrimeCon before, Joe?
This was my first time.
Amazing.
Was not at all what I expected.
Really? How so? What were you expecting?
I thought it was going to be like a tourist trap type of thing. Like there were just going to be the vendors with their T-shirts and their gear, their swag, and like the true crime channels, and they were there and they had that stuff and they sold that stuff. But the actual sessions were really amazing, and the interaction between just regular everyday people like me, everyday Joe Schmoes like me, and like the famous people like Vinny Politan. I got some one-on-one time with him, which was amazing. Nancy Grace was there that first night, and Ms. Woozy got to talk to her, and I was like, I don't know if I should. We'll just keep on walking. I should have. Like I should have, just because that's what they expect. They expect that interaction at CrimeCon. It's an amazing experience.
That's what they're there for. Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't walk up to Nancy Grace on the street probably because that she's being a private citizen then, but I guess at CrimeCon, absolutely.
Yeah, and I got to meet Ms. Woozy. She was like my first. So when you run across people on the YouTube streets and you have your YouTube community and your YouTube friends, it is 100% better to meet them in person and hang out with them in person. And she and I hung out all weekend long. We shared an Uber. We were in different hotels, but they weren't that far apart. So it was economical to share an Uber to the convention center. So yeah, that part of it was great. Just all of the people that I ran into and that I got to know better. I got to know Lauren Matthias from Hidden True Crime. And I know some people aren't fans of her, but I am. Like after getting to know her, so I got to know her better, much better at Lori Daybell's trials because she was there almost every day like I was. So I got to know her and her producer Grayson, but even more so at CrimeCon.
Yeah, I haven't watched Lauren Hidden True Crime much. I found her just because there's so much on YouTube and there's only so many hours in the day. But I found her stuff on the James Craig trial, which wasn't televised. I found hers and Lawyer Lee's recaps to be really good, different and good. So I good creators doesn't. Correct. So Vinny Politan?
Yeah, Vinny. So I'll tell you that story. Yes. Hold on. Let me grab my jersey real quick.
Yes,
real quick.
please. Oh, look at Joe's fancy chair. And we didn't coordinate me wearing green today, but here I am we are looking very smooth together on screen, Joe. I love it.
Very color coordinated. So this is the jersey that I wore on day one. So Thursday was technically not day one. That was just the intro party. But on the back of my jersey.
Cool.
So I had two of those. Now I have four of these that I alternated every other day. So Thursday was the white one. Friday was the blue one. Saturday was the white one. Sunday was the blue one. And there were people that actually recognized me from having Joe Schmoe on the back of my jersey. Not very many, like maybe 5 or 6.
But
And
still cool.
it is. Some of them actually wanted to meet me and get a picture with me. And I was so humbled. They're like, I watch your channel. I love your channel. And it's
awesome.
Such a humbling experience. But Vinnie Politan. So that first party on Thursday night, the welcome party, is just a huge bar, multiple bars. And if you have a VIP ticket, that's where the celebrities go first. That's where the famous people go first to hang out with the VIPs. But eventually they made their way out to the regular people section where Ms. Woozy and I were hanging out. And so there's a small line, a short line of people. Ms. Woozy, I'm not a celebrity. No.
You're a rising star, Joe. Just take the compliment.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's true. It's complimentary because it's true. Anyway, carry on. So you plebs came in second after the important people.
Yes, but it was a long party. It lasted in well into the night. I think maybe 11 o'clock ish. So people would line up in front of people like Vinnie Politan and talk with him, and it was just like small groups of people, like a half a dozen or so. So you work your way into those.
Sorry, Joe, you're trying to tell a serious story, and Ms. Woozy's out here spitting factoids.
But he saw my Brave shirt when I got the chance to go up and meet him. He saw my Brave shirt, and he's from New York, so he's a Mets fan and he's a baseball fan. So we talked baseball for 3, 4, 5 minutes, whatever it was, just small talk, but it was baseball talk, so there was a connection there. And then I think it was the next night. It was Friday night. I'm wearing my other Braves jersey, and Ms. Woozy and I are going to go grab our Uber back to our hotels after we hung out in the bar. And there is Vinny with Al and Jonesy. And Jonesy, I met Jonesy and we talked baseball on Thursday night too. But there they were going back to their room, and we just happened to run across them in the hallway. So we talked baseball again. We talked baseball for a good probably 15 minutes. And turns out Vinny used to live in New York, but now he lives in Atlanta. So he has actually encountered some of the old Braves players that are some of my favorite players of all time, like John Smoltz. Mark Wohlers is a former Braves pitcher, coached his little boy in Little League in Atlanta suburbs.
Cool.
And I was like, I knew who Mark Wohlers was. Ms. Woozy didn't. And she's like, how did you know who that was? It's because I've been a Braves fan since 1987. That's how. But it was a really cool connection. And I'm not talking court TV with him. I'm not talking Vinnie Politan Investigates. I'm not talking true crime. We're just talking baseball. Just two guys talking baseball, at the Convention Center Hotel.
I mean, obviously fame and recognition can go to people's heads, and it does, obviously, for many, but it's not. But at the end of the day, we're all I'm not famous. You're getting that way, but we're just regular people. Vinnie Politan is just a regular person. I guess Nancy Grace is just a regular person.
You'll have to ask Miss Woozy about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I will. So how far are you from Denver, and did you drive or did you fly just to get?
Oh no, I flew. I flew. And yes. So I did. So when I was covering Lori Daybell's trials and going there and coming back, I covered a couple of other smaller cases in Texas. Well, the Kirk County on the way back, but I also drove through Oklahoma. But I drove 8,000 miles, from the end of November to the middle of July, end of July. I drove 8,000 miles across the U.S. to go there and back twice. Never a single encounter with law enforcement ever. I usually drive 7, 8, 9 miles over the speed limit, and that's usually okay with the state troopers. They're not going to pull you over. I left my house at 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday, whatever that Thursday was before CrimeCon, 3 o'clock in the morning, so I could make my 6 o'clock flight down in Indianapolis. 4 blocks from my house. I got pulled over by a local city police officer for quote unquote rolling a stop sign 4 blocks from the house.
Bastard. Did
That
you get a
was
ticket?
No, he ran my plate. He ran my driver's license, all came up clean. What he was doing at 3 o'clock in the morning, he was fishing for a DUI, like somebody driving back from the bar.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Did you go? Did you have your jersey? Did you have your jersey on? And did you go?
I actually did.
Don't you know who I am, sir? Okay, so anyway, you already said that you and Ms. Woozy caught Ubers, so I probably that was probably a dumb question from me. But so the Thursday night was a big late night. Tell us what happened on, but a fun night, an amazing night. What did you do on the Friday morning? Tell us what your itinerary looked like and how you found that.
So Friday was official day 1. And the largest room that they had, I'm going to have to pull down my phone with my schedule on it so I can remember all of the details. I remember Friday very well because it started off with Chris Hansen, sit down with Chris Hansen. And he had on Schlep, and I had no idea about Roblox. No idea. This was a special on Roblox. And Schlep is a Roblox former content creator. And they talked about how Roblox is a platform that is geared towards children, but it has some adultish content on it. And it is also a way for adults to lure and exploit children.
Highly problematic platform, particularly with the lure of Robux. Is that what they're called?
Yes.
The dollars. And there's some heavy shit going on there. So okay, so you're not a Roblox player. Okay, that tracks. Honestly,
I didn't even know about Roblox. I have 4 sons, and apparently Roblox has been around for like 20 years, and I have no idea. They're all like in their 20s and 30s now, so obviously they're not into that anymore. They're into other stuff, I hope. But
yeah, wow.
that was a learning experience for me. Then there was another session after that. So that's in the main ballroom. The main ballroom is a big, huge venue with a big stage, and it's got big screens on both sides of it. So they do camera close-ups of the people that are talking. So if you're sitting back in the back with the regular people like we were, then you can still see them and hear them. And then at the end of each session, they give a certain allotment of time, and however long that is varies depending on however long their presentation took, right? So it could be 15 minutes, it could be 10, it could be 5, it could be 0. Like it varied throughout the thing, but people get to come up to microphones that are like 5 rows back from the stage. So the entire audience is darked out, right? But then they put a spotlight on you at the microphone when you're asking your question of the people up on stage. So it's generally and genuinely very supportive, and people are like, Schlep, you're doing an amazing job. Thank you for, talking about this type of thing at that. I didn't get up and ask any questions for that, but I did 3 times at 3 other sessions.
Cool.
Which is kind of cool, but kind of nerve-wracking because you're like in front of like 1,500 to 2,000 people, something like that. I'm just guesstimating, but definitely over 1,000 people, and you're literally in the spotlight on a microphone to ask those questions. But the session after that, I wasn't that interested in, and I didn't want to walk away too far because it's a huge convention center. So if you want to go sit in on another session, by the time you come back to the ones that are at the same one, which were 2 in a row for me, Motion to Scream, yes, it was packed. It was packed, and some of them were more packed than others, but they were all packed. Like if you came in late, you had to search for a seat to sit down. You could usually find a seat. It wasn't like standing room only, and actually they wouldn't let you stand because they said it's a fire hazard. I know personally because I stood in the aisle once, and they're like, you can't do that.
Oh, I would be like, awkward. So before you continue with your Friday itinerary, who in particular were you hoping, or who were you there for? Like who were you most hoping to see, interact with? I have an idea, but I'll let you answer.
Yeah, and that's the next one that came up on my itinerary because the Delphi case is the first one that I started my channel on, and I have some
Yes.
very particular ideas about Jerry Holman and Nick McClelland, and they were up on stage next, not next, but next.
So before you say it, I just envisioned them being like booed off the stage and heckled, but I get the feeling that that's not what happens. So there's still so much, like you and I are on the same page with Delphi, and mostly everyone in Camp Shorty is, but they were welcomed and people listened to them with open ears
And
and
applauded
grace.
them. It became what I discovered about CrimeCon that I didn't know before, and I'm not such a huge fan of, is that the people in the audience get a groupthink mentality that the people on the stage are heroes or they wouldn't be there. Like they solve the case of Abby and Libby's unaliving, and therefore they're heroes. They arrested somebody, that guy's in jail for 130 years, and therefore they're heroes.
It's frightening, maddening, not just in true crime, but in the world in general. Groupthink and a lack of critical thinking, and just that appeal to authority, logical fallacy. If the people in authority say it is so, then obviously it must be so. Terrifying. So tell how did you feel sitting in that room?
Uncomfortable. It became uncomfortable with all the applause they were getting. It definitely was uncomfortable, and knowing the question that I had in the back of my mind to ask them, my question became more and more diluted as time went on. I'm not going to lie. I still think I asked a decent question, but it was not as critical of a question as I will ask them next time. If they come to CrimeCon 2026, I will be there, Nick and Jerry, I will be there, and I will have a better question for you next time. Yep.
I'm sure you do. What was your original question, and how it started and how it's going? What were you hoping to ask, and what did you end up asking?
Well, I wanted, and it's only phrased slightly differently. I added one phrase in the middle of it that kind of diluted it, but my original question was, how many innocent people have you detained pre-trial in a state prison as opposed to a county jail?
I love it. And what was the qualifier, the softening?
I said innocent people under the presumption of innocence is how I rephrased it. How many innocent pretrial detainees under the presumption of innocence are detained in state prison as opposed to county jails? So that was my question.
Did they answer?
Yes, Nick answered and he evaded it. He said his answer was more than you think.
Fuck off. I'm surprised. I wouldn't have been able to fix my face holding that microphone. I would have been like, sir.
Yeah. So they kind of have people there standing next to you to make sure like it doesn't get too crazy, like you don't engage in a debate with them. So I was like conscious of those people. But then so I said thank you. I thanked him for his answer, and as I turned to walk away, Jerry Holman blurts out, "And it wasn't solitary confinement."
Oh, wow. Ooh,
triggered a little bit there, buddy. Triggered a little bit.
Yes. Nice work, Joe. Did anybody else ask any hard-hitting questions, or was it mostly sycophants cheering and screaming for the hero that is Jerry Holman?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, and he made comments about his interrogation of Rick Allen. Like he said, well, you don't see in that video that's published, you don't see that he started raising his voice to me, and then I said a few things before I started raising my voice to him too.
Wow.
Yeah.
But so that's hello gaslighting. We've seen the video, we watch it escalate, and the only reason Rick started to raise his voice because he's being techniqued into oblivion by an amateur. Like he can't
and
even
he
do
didn't
it
even
properly.
confess, and he didn't even confess after that.
Of course he didn't.
Amazing read technique. Your guy didn't confess. You had to put him in prison for 9 months before he started confessing. You had to put him in solitary confinement for 9 months before he started confessing.
Yeah.
All right.
So generally, the vibe, and I guess in a group of people that large, it is very hard to push against that, bell curve, that swell of support and just blind acceptance of things. But did you get did you feel anyone shuffling in their seats or anything about what he was saying?
No, but I did talk to some people before and some people after. So there was a session after Chris Hansen and before Delphi, and I just went out and I sat out in the yard. There's a yard that's like right outside of that ballroom, and I sat out in the yard and I just like, calm yourself, because I have public speaking anxiety to a certain degree anyway. And I knew I was going to be getting up and speaking in public, didn't know how it was going to be received. So calm myself before that. And then I did that, but I was sitting and I positioned myself because I got in early before people came in for that session. I positioned myself right behind the microphone because I knew I wanted to ask a question. So I was sitting almost as close to the microphone as you can get without being a VIP, which you already know I wasn't a VIP.
Next year, Joe. We'll get you there next year.
All right. So I was sitting there and have my seat reserved. I have a seat reserved for Ms. Woozy and a seat reserved for Megan Connor. And they all came and joined us, at various times. And Lauren Matthias, Hidden True Crime, and her producer were sitting back a row and like 8 seats off to the left. So I went over to say hi to her. And we were like, this is like full circle for us because we first butted heads over her Jerry Holman interview.
Yeah.
That's when I got my first copyright strike. And then she did end up apologizing for that later. And we hugged it out, which was really cool. I mean, because it just, anyway, getting to know her was good. But I was sitting in that
sorry to interrupt you, but you saw then Lauren again for Laurie Vallow Daybell, right? I remember you telling that story of how you guys, didn't you have lunch with her one day? Yep. Yes. And that's where you guys kind of made amends and she apologized and smooth things over nicely. Oh, that's lovely. So now see, you've got a friend you've got a true crime buddy wherever you go in she's a pretty big channel, man. And Vinny. Oh my God. Grab onto those coattails as best you can, Joe, and just ride it. I'm joking. You get there on your own merit. You'll get there on your own merit. Okay,
so she has like a 250,000 subscribers on YouTube, I think. It's a huge channel. Yep.
Now, how long was each session? An hour and a half or so? An hour. Including Q&A or?
Yes, including Q&A.
Oh, okay.
So then they had like 20 minutes in between. So they were staged like every, 60 plus 20, 80 minutes, every 80 minutes.
Right. And so
I had
carry on. You go.
Yeah. Where I was going with that was there were people that since I found my seat and I was camped in my spot, there were people around me and I just started conversations with them. I'm like, what do you know about Delphi? What do you think about Richard Allen's guilt or innocence? And I got a lot of opinions. But what's funny about that group think is when I would talk to them about the fact that I'm not convinced one way or the other of his factual innocence or guilt, I would have people shaking their head and being like, yeah, that makes sense. I
mean, yeah, I personally am as convinced as I could be, but at the same time, none of us were there. So realistically, how firmly can one believe? I don't suppose, and I bet you will next time if you didn't this time, did you do Vox Pop? Did you have a mic and a thing while you're asking?
No, you're not allowed to record in the actual session rooms.
No, I mean outside in the hallways when you were chatting. Next year, Joe, that would make great Vox Pops.
Yes, you are correct. Yep. Absolutely.
Next year. Okay. So did you walk out of there out of that particular session feeling how? How did you walk out of there feeling?
Disappointed in groupthink. Very, very disappointed in groupthink. I felt like I got a decent question in, and I have a lot of people that saw it. I can't remember who posted it on Twitter. Somebody posted it on Twitter, which I was grateful for because it's hard to find recorded evidence of that, but there is on Twitter now. So I appreciated that and the support I got.
Amazing. So who came after them? That Delphi one.
So Idaho 4, or not Idaho 4, no, Daybell was up. No, Daybell was up. Yes.
Okay.
So that was Nate Eaton playing host, asking questions of Colby and Ray Hermosillo. And Ms. Woozy and I met Ray on Thursday night at the welcome party. And he and his wife were just hanging out, drinking their hand, and just interacting like normal people. And they really are fantastic people. They really are. Ray and his wife are just amazing. Took a picture with us. Obviously, we got to get that picture in, that obligatory picture, but also just talking and just like walking down the hallway. Like later on during the convention, he's sitting over at the side with his wife and just like nod at him. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up? We're best buds now.
That's so cool. So I saw the very beginning of I think I actually a clip. I'm not sure whether it was the beginning or not, but where Nate asked Colby something about Laurie, and at the end of, like, Colby was like, I don't care, I don't want to talk about her, like, God. And then Nate said we won't talk about that anymore about her. I don't know, that made me feel icky for Colby. But
it did me too. And I said this before and I'll say it again. I don't appreciate Nate putting him in that position, because Nate got an email or a message of some kind from Laurie in prison in Idaho that said,
pass on a message.
Yes, I understand. I understand you're going to have a session with Colby, and I just would like you to pass on this message to Colby for me. And he presented that to Colby and Ray backstage before they came on and said, do you mind if I do this? And if you're Colby in that position, what are you going to say? No, I don't want you to do it. Yeah.
I would have said no. I would have said no, man, boundaries. But Colby's so lovely. He seems so lovely.
He does. Absolutely. I got to meet him in person in between sessions, just out in the hallway. He and Ray Hermosillo have become really good friends. And I love that about this. As horrible of an experience as much as Colby has lost in his life, his mom, his dad, his adoptive dad, his brother and sister, like, he's lost everything. He has genuinely made a good connection with Ray Hermosillo. I think they do a podcast together or something like that. And Ray's hilarious on it. And Ms. Woozy got to ask a question too, because she watches that podcast and they're always arguing about which is better, Grease 1 or Grease 2. So she got up and she asked them at the end of that session, which is better, Grease 1 or Grease 2. And it was hilarious. It was great.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't watched that. I've watched some of Colby's channel, but again, there's so much on YouTube and so little time. Okay, so but after that, that was was that moment at the start of that panel, and then they put that aside, or was that in the middle?
No, it was in the middle. It was like halfway through, and that's when, like, within the next 5 minutes or so, Nate Eaton finally said, "Okay, let's stop talking about her and let's talking about, what you guys are doing in survival and after, in your lives afterwards, after that."
Yeah, I love Nate Eaton, and that made me go, oh man, that's a shitty thing to do. So anyway, but did anything new come out that in that session that or what struck you the most in that session? Was it just a good conversation?
It brought us all back to that investigation. Because to be honest, after the verdict and after sentencing, I've kind of put that on the back burner and in the back of my mind, and I've not thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
But it brought us back there that day. They showed pictures of the day that they were out there in Chad's backyard in Rexburg. They didn't show us close-up pictures. They didn't show us any gruesome pictures. They just showed like an aerial that's, from like 5,000 feet up or something like that, wherever the helicopter was. But it still emotionally brought us back to that heavy moment.
Did you feel
And
like that was a necessary thing? Did you feel that was gratuitous?
I don't think it was gratuitous. I think it's part of CrimeCon. I mean,
Yeah, fair.
there were other sessions that were like that too, like the Idaho 4. I sat in the Idaho 4 with Othram and with Stacy Chapin. I sat in that one, and there were moments of that were heavy like that too. That's I mean, that's part of true crime, and that's kind of what CrimeCon is. But how CrimeCon is different than what I thought it was is it's a lot more about the survivors and about building relationships of the survivors with other survivors and with people that help solve the case, like Colby and Ray and like Stacy and gosh, I forget the gal's name that was a co-founder of Othram, but they have a relationship too, and they were there
The
together.
wife. The
Yeah.
wife of the guy. I actually wrote their names down, but yes. Oh, let me pull it up. I did actually do some research here, Joe. I know. We're surprised. So yeah, good point. I don't know. And I suppose there are people at CrimeCon who didn't follow, for example, the Daybell shit show. Is that possible?
It's possible. It is. It's possible.
Wow.
But I think there were more people that didn't follow the Delphi case.
Yeah,
because
it wasn't televised, right?
Right. Yeah. No, it wasn't. No. And the only thing we had to rely on was for people reporting from inside the court, like Andrea Burkhart and Bob Mata and Lawyer Lee.
Andrew Burkhart.
Yeah.
Andrew Burkhart. It was, sorry, just to interrupt. It was David Middleman and Kristen Middleman, who I presume is his wife.
Yeah,
Kristen Middleman. Okay. Yep.
Right. And so they have a relationship. Her and Stacy Chapin have a relationship, and I don't think it's as like deeply a formed bond as the one between Ray and Colby, but it's still pretty cool to see people supporting each other in the midst of tragedy and heartbreak and grief.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just my brain's going to the fact that our girl Stephanie blah 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 went to the inaugural advocacy conference, which is really very heavily focused on advocacy and victims, and she's going again to next year's one in Albuquerque, and so is Pokemon Camp Shorty Scholarship. But I wonder whether. Hint, Joe Schmoe, you should go to the advocacy conference and be able to give us a compare and contrast. Albuquerque advocacy conference, admittedly in its infancy, this one the upcoming one will only be the second one, compared to CrimeCon, and I wonder whether the vibe would be different. Interesting. That's just a little sidebar thought.
I like that thought.
So,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, Albuquerque's closest to you. My geography in the States is horrendous.
No, it's not. I'm in Indiana. It is close to Phoenix, but it's not close to Indiana. But
Indiana's up high, right?
Yes. High and to the right, and Albuquerque's low and to the left.
To the left, yes. Right. Okay. I know New Mexico. Ms. What the fuck is laughing at me? You guys have got a lot of states, and I'm just learning. But yes, okay.
I did.
Anyway,
I did drive through Albuquerque several times on my way to and from Phoenix, like at least 4 times.
Okay, so I'm sowing the seed for you to maybe go to advocacy conference. I know Steph talked about how very heavy it was, but also how inspiring and uplifting there. And I because I think it's. I get the feeling that it's less razzmatazz, big names, what's it called? Creator Row. Is that what it's called? Creator.
There is a Creator Row in the exhibit hall. Yes. Yeah.
So that's more like going to a convention center exhibition thing where there's stands and tables versus a conference environment where you're going to listen to speakers and it's all happening at the one time, correct? At CrimeCon. Right. Did you go into Creator Row at all? Not
until Saturday. So I didn't go Thursday. I didn't go Friday. I was actually consciously avoiding it. I was like, I don't know what's in there, but they want to take my money, so I'm going to stay out as long as I can.
Because it's them selling, merch and stuff and meet and greedy kind of, yeah.
That's
That
and
sounds
that's
like
fine. I don't begrudge
Yeah.
them that at all. It's just not my jam.
No. But you did eventually go in there. So so while we're on that topic, because it wasn't your focus, but you did go. What did you? Was it exactly how you thought it would be in that part of CrimeCon, or a little? Go.
So I didn't stop at every booth. I went in there for very particular destinations. I was going from point A to point B. So Saturday, Trisha from Web Sleuths was going to do a live at some particular time. I don't remember if it was noon or if it was 2 p.m. Anyway, she was going to go live, and she's like, everybody that I know needs to come and join me for my live. So she went live from in there, which you're not supposed to do. You're not supposed to record in there, but we didn't tell. But she started there and she took it out into the hallway, and she did like a little 20-minute live, which was cool. But that was me going from point A to point B to meet her at the Othram booth, which is where she started her live. And then I didn't go back in because I also got an invitation from Josh Ritter, from his wife Tiff, to go look them up at their booth in Creator Row, Courtroom Confidential. So I was going to go do that after the live with Trisha, but while I'm standing there talking to Trisha with my Joe Schmoe on the back of my Braves jersey, I hear this voice behind me that goes, "Is that the real Joe Schmoe?" And I turn around and it's Josh and Tiff and their young child in a stroller and like somebody else. Is just this cutest little adorable entourage. So I got to meet Josh. I got to take pictures with Josh Ritter, and I got to meet Tiff, and I got to meet everybody else. And it was just a really cool experience. It was because I was wearing that jersey, because they spotted me, and I did, because so they started just walking out of there and they were really tired. Maybe they were going back to their hotel room. I don't know. But if I had gone to go try to find them after that, I wouldn't have found them, because I think somebody else was manning their booth at that time. So it was very serendipitous, and it was a great experience, like meeting Josh and Tiff.
Cool.
It was very cool.
So cool. So they were the only two particular booths you were hoping to go to in Creator Row?
Until Sunday morning.
Okay.
Sunday morning. Do you want to hear about that?
Before you, yeah, I
Okay.
do, but pause, because Akasha, and this is my big one, and you probably do. You even know who Derek and Stephanie are? Did you meet?
I don't.
Oh, I knew you wouldn't. It's probably not your jam. Akasha, Derek and Stephanie from Crime Weekly, who won the award for People's Choice in the whatever the awards are called. So,
Oh wow.
Derek Lavassa, sidebar, won Big Brother in 2016, and he has his own channel. It's called Detective Perspective. Stephanie Harlow, you may have heard of before. Her channel's got almost 1 million subscribers, so helpful from a popular culture point of view. Somewhat controversial, not for me, but for others. And they together do a show called Crime Weekly. They do like deep dives that go for 5-6 episodes, couple of hours each. Anyway, sidebar. I didn't think you'd know who they were, but if anyone asks you, now you can go, I didn't see Crime Weekly. No, unfortunately.
I guarantee you I have probably watched some of their content, and I just don't necessarily remember them specifically by name.
Akasha's publicly shaming you. Shame on you, Schmoe.
Accepted and deserved.
No, we're just trying to bring you down a peg from your meteoric rise. I'm joking. So yeah, same, Michael. I've been watching them both for 5 or 6 years now. Hard love. Tell us about Sunday morning when you went back there.
Okay, well, so then we have to go back to Saturday night. So okay, Saturday night, one more time, walking around with Ms. Woozy back to our Uber at the front of the hotel. Run into Vinny and Al and Jonesy. Again.
It's so cool.
Just
He's-
randomly, just us. It's not like there's 50 other people around, 20 other people around, not even 3 other people around. It's just me and Ms. Woozy and Vinny and Al and Jonesy run across each other in the hallway. And this time I'm like, I'm going to seize the opportunity. And I said, because they're in a hurry, we're not going to stop and talk baseball this time. They're on a mission. They're going probably back to their room. I don't know. And we're on our way to the Uber. I said, Vinny, can I talk to you about this case that I'm covering, the story that I'm covering in Oklahoma? And he said, be at my booth early tomorrow morning. So I was there before.
Joe, I've stopped breathing. Sorry, carry on. Yes, go.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. So I was there before the doors opened. I was there half an hour before the doors opened. Sitting there waiting, twiddling my thumbs, like, I'm going to go talk to Vinny. So I go back to their booth. I find first I go to the Court TV booth, and I was like, is this where Vinny's at? They're like, no, he's got the Tangents podcast booth back in the back along Creator Row. So I go back there, and I've got my suitcase because I had to check out of my hotel before I left. Because checkout time's 11 o'clock, and I'm leaving at like 8 o'clock, and there's no way I can get back to the hotel and check out and then come back to. So got my suitcase with me. I've got my backpack with me that weighs like 40 pounds. Sitting there waiting for him. He and Jonesy show up. Nobody else is around. Vinny gives me like 10 to 15 minutes of one-on-one time to talk about this story. And he has me explain it a little bit, and he's looking at it from like the producer, content creator perspective, like at 35,000 feet. He's not down at boots on the ground level like I am with it. So it was really, really good feedback that I got from him. And also feedback on how to get more eyes on this case, because it is a case that needs more eyes on it. But then when he did his CrimeCon recap, like about a week ago, I jumped into their chat and I gave him a little like super chat, and he like said Joe Schmoe like 6 times on his CrimeCon recap, which was really cool, and I appreciated it very much.
That's awesome. Yeah, I noticed when I was grabbing your link. So by the way, we've been dropping your link in the chat, but also your channel link is in the description box. And I noticed that you're up to 6,000 now?
Yeah, 3,500 or so, yes. And I appreciate it very much.
Very
I appreciate
cool,
everybody.
Man. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, so hey, Ms. Woozy said, tell him about standing behind Vinny with your Braves jersey.
Oh, yeah. I almost completely forgot about that. I made my first appearance on Court TV.
Were you there? Because he was doing a cross.
He was doing a live.
CrimeCon, a live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, Ms. Woozy and Megan told me about it, and I went to go, and it was in like a hall, an exhibit hall off to the side. It wasn't like one of the main exhibit areas, but I go and find them. So this had to have been Friday, because it was after the Idaho Daybell case thing. And I was going to go to a meet and greet, and I was going to get a picture with Ray and Nate and Colby all at once. I do have a picture with Ray separately. I have a picture with Colby separately, and I could get a picture with Nate because he's very approachable separately. But to get a picture with all 3 of them at the same time would have been a rare thing. And you don't have to pay extra for those. You just have to go wait in line. And I was standing around talking after that session so long that by the time so the meet and greet is in a completely separate room. You have to walk like 10 minutes to get to the meet and greet room. By the time I got there, the line was super long, and I'm standing there for like 10 minutes. And I asked this gal, what is it? What is the deal with these people saying end of line and beginning of line? Why are there 2 different lines? She goes, oh, well, you're in the overflow line. So if there's enough time at the end, then you might get to meet them. And I'm like, I'm not standing here for another hour and might get to meet them. So I left, and I went to the room where Ms. Woozy and Megan said Vinny was going to have his live show on Court TV. And I went there and just hanging out. They're like, we're going to go get a drink. We'll be back. In the meantime, after they left and before they got back, the producer is over there marking out lines on the carpet with black tape. And she said, so there are bleachers, and VIPs get to sit in the bleachers, and they get to actually ask questions with Vinny and interact with Vinny during the live show. But the overflow people who aren't VIP can go stand anywhere behind these black tape lines that they have. And she put one up right behind Vinny. I'm like, whoop, I'm there. I'm going to go stand there right behind Vinny Politan. So I'm standing behind him, and you can see my Braves jersey behind him for any time the camera like shows him straight on. There's Joe Schmoe with his Braves jersey over Vinny's left shoulder. So my first appearance on Court TV was amazing.
That's awesome. Was it your blue one or the white one?
It was the blue one. That day was the blue one, yeah.
Good, because the white one might have been a little bit too flary for the camera, but blue, perfect. Chef's kiss. Love it. Love it. So we've gone through the Friday, the speakers that you went to and participated in. Ms. What the Fuck asked a question before. I think she started, and this is relevant to this nice little segue. Were the panels happening at the same time? So you had to choose between different panels at the same time?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Did you have any conflicting appearances where you're like, toss a coin?
On Saturday, yeah, I wasn't so, and it was like on the negative side of that, because I was like, there were a whole bunch of them that I wasn't super excited about. It wasn't like there were two of them that I really had to be out. There were like 4 of them that I could go or I could not go.
So on Saturday, which did you attend?
The Othram one was the Othram Idaho 4 one was the main one that I went to on Saturday with Stacy and you told me her name and I heard
Kristen Middleman.
Yes. And I think Kristen's husband was supposed to be there too, and I think he just couldn't make it for some reason or another.
Yes, because he was on the list of people, because I went through the CrimeCon website and wrote down basically everybody that was noteworthy to me, and they were listed separately actually. So I guess probably they confirmed their attendance separately, and then Kristen obviously was the only one who could attend. So it was still very good, and I learned a lot, and I did get up. I didn't tell you about the question that I asked of Colby and Ray. Yes. Not Grease 1, Grease 2. You had a more pertinent question.
Although that's more pertinent.
Although it is important, an important decision to make. But yeah, what was your question to
So going back to the fact, so this is back on Friday. This is the Lori Daybell discussion with Nate and Colby and Ray. And public questions, there weren't a whole lot of people that got up to ask questions. And I'm sitting right behind the microphone, but there's like 3 people on my side and there's nobody on the other microphone. So I walked all the way over to the other microphone and I get up there and I say, no offense to Nate, who is sitting on the right, but this question is for the 2 gentlemen on the left. How many days a week do you work out? And if you know Ray Hermosillo, his arms, his biceps are like the size of my legs. He has huge biceps. They're like ginormous. And we all know Colby works out. So that got a laugh from the audience, and I appreciated that. It was
I feel like somewhere in the depths of my memory, I recall Nate saying when he was walking, I think it was alongside Colby. I think I might actually have heard your question, because no, I don't know. I should have thought of this first. I think I've seen Nate walking alongside someone and saying, well, walking next to you makes me realize I probably need to work out more. It was probably Colby. It was probably a different thing. So,
yeah. And at the end, Nate is the one that answered the question. And I specifically said before I asked the question, this is for the 2 gentlemen on the left. This is for Nate. And Nate is like laughs and he goes, oh, I didn't, you can see I don't work out. And then he goes to ask the person at the other microphone another question. And he sees I'm still standing at my microphone. And he goes, are you waiting for something? I go, yeah, I'm waiting for an answer from Ray and Colby. And so Ray and Colby did answer. Colby starts talking about like eating your greens and being healthy, like a healthy diet and that sort of stuff. And then Ray goes, well, I'm too old to work out anymore the way I used to. He goes, but I used to work out 6 days a week. And I was like, I'm not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's good. I think that those kind of questions are both actually the Grease 1, Grease 2 one, and that question are nice because, you know, it's humanizing, getting to know the people behind the Googleable facts of a case that, you know, a lot of people.
And just a little bit of levity after all of that heaviness.
Heaviness. Absolutely. Woozy says, oh my God, the crowd was cackling. Joe totally killed it. So wait, I'm gonna, what did you, was there an event every night? Like you said, there was that party on the Thursday night. Was there a,
No, but it's funny you asked that because after all of the sessions were over, the scene totally shifted to the bar. And you have to picture this is a convention center. So there's this ginormous bar. Well, the actual bar itself isn't that big. It was actually kind of frustrating because it took forever to get a drink because there's only 3 bartenders back there. There's like thousands of people in this room trying to get a drink. But it's this bar in the middle of a large area with lots of seating, lots of tables, some couches, some chairs, casual seating. And then around the outside of that are some restaurants. There's like a half a dozen restaurants around the outside of that. And then there's if you walk through a little walkway, there's also another bar and restaurant over the other side. You can go sit outside of that and you can turn on the gas fireplace with the logs because it did get chilly at night in Denver. But that's where a lot of stuff was going on. And that's where you really get to know people, like just in a natural environment, not on YouTube, not their like performative face in front of their, you know, their community, their subscribers. This is like, you're interacting on a very personal level with some really cool people. And that was amazing. So like every night, every night, we were there till at least midnight, and I think Saturday night / Sunday morning, I think we were there till 2 a.m.
Oh my God, I would cry, Joe. I go to bed at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. But that sounds great. Well, that's why you were living vicariously through you. So on those nights, did you have anybody that you hadn't bumped into? Any not necessarily big names? Did you connect with anyone in particular on sort of kickback sessions that you weren't expecting? Have you made any firm friends from that?
Not really, just developing more solid relationships with people that I already knew, Megan and Ms. Woozy and Lauren Matthias and her producer Grayson. Just like we got to know each other as much as you can in a bar, like over 3 nights. I mean yeah. And there was some other drama went on that I can't talk about. There was some typical bar type of drama, and then there was some atypical convention type of drama.
What's convention drama?
I can't talk about it. I can just say there was. I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, that's okay. I'll ask Miss Woozy offline. I'm joking.
She knows.
Miss Woozy. Miss Woozy. Come on now. So Saturday, you really only had, you said you had two
sessions.
That you really wanted to see?
So one of the ones that was the most impressive to me and I learned the most, just like on a personal level, was the Delphi survivors. So Mike and Becky Patty and Anna, Libby's mom, and Josh, Anna is Abby's mom, and Josh, Libby's brother, and Kelsey were all there up on stage and talking about their experience. Wow. And I learned so much because I've seen the news clips of them and I've seen Mike Patty talking about it, on camera, but I got to hear so much more about them as survivors of this situation. I know that they believe that Richard Allen is guilty, but I put that aside completely and I just listened to them as survivors and I listened to them as also victims. And I also listen to them as victims of social media smearing.
Yes.
Because they were, and Becky Patty had so much to say about that. And you can tell she still harbors so much resentment over that it like was a cautionary tale for me as a content creator to be much more aware of the survivors and their feelings and be aware of what I put out there and what I say about them. And not that I've ever gone after any of them ever, and I never will, but other people have, and the ramifications of that are very deep.
Even some of the bullshit that was speculated, armchair detectives about Kelsey and her involvement. Like, come on now. Like, just, and then that groupthink takes over, and people aren't huge with fact checking. I got fact checked today on Twitter about something, and I asked Grok, and Grok set me in my place, and I love that. Like, but most people are going to dig in and die on hills over things. And I think 6-7 years ago, when there was, there's still no answers really. Let's be honest. We have our thoughts. In those early days when people were just scrambling for anything, people being the broader, web sleuths. Poor Kelsey.
Yeah, and I saw her at Exhibitors Row too, and would have been completely inappropriate for me to approach her in any way, shape, or form. But I just got to observe her just like kind of wandering around CrimeCon with her significant other or whoever was walking around with her, and it's just like she's just a normal, everyday person,
Yes. Who didn't ask to be thrown into any of this. They all are. Like
Yeah.
That's really important to remember. And when people say things, yes, strongly agree, Joe. So did they tell any powerful stories that are they being those Delphi family survivors? Did they tell any stories that you, even just one that you might comes to mind that was noteworthy? Was it just a vibe?
Yeah, it was just a vibe. I just remember, especially Becky Patty, just talking about the horrible way that they were attacked on social media, and trying to deal with that as a family and as individuals was just so hard for them.
Yeah, I guess a really powerful thing to present to a couple of thousand people, I guess, in each auditorium. Did you say that? A couple of thousand in each auditorium?
I'm just guessing. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure it was at least 1,500, and it might have been a couple thousand.
Yes. So that's a powerful message, both to give out, a reminder to those attendees to think, and the impact that just some careless little statements, observations, questions, accusations can have on the survivors and victims' families, but also probably, I presume, quite cathartic and amazing for those family members to be up there in front of that room, sharing that experience as a panel of people.
Yeah, and also being able to keep the memories of Abby and Libby alive. We got to see pictures. We did get to hear a couple of stories. I honestly don't remember the specifics of those stories, but just like the whole crowd, that's so amazing to keep their memories alive and to keep talking about them.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So those were the two sessions that you really wanted to go to on Saturday. Did you attend others, and did any of them, did you go, oh, actually, I'm glad I came to this one?
Nope. Okay. Actually, it was a really interesting experience. So I ended up buying tickets last minute because Ms. Woozy had bought a ticket to the comedy show that I think was Saturday night. And I'm pretty sure it was.
Pause. CrimeCon comedy show?
Yes.
Can we take a sidestep? Did you go to that? Yes.
Yes. I ended up getting a ticket to it last minute.
Okay, let's stick a pin in that and keep going with your story. And I want someone remind me, you or someone remind me to come back to the comedy show. But so go.
So what it was a guy from the UK that suffered a really traumatic true crime experience when he was younger. And he presented that story in a way that had comedic relief elements in the middle of it, but actually was a very traumatic story. And you could tell that he's still suffering from some trauma. Like there were times, so they opened it up for questions at the end of it. And this doesn't usually happen, at a comedy show. You don't get to ask the comedian. I mean, you can interact with them, but then if you heckle the comedian, you're subject to whatever they get back to you, right? But they opened it up for questions, and there were questions that were asked where he got the 1,000-yard stare in his eyes, where he's sitting there with his microphone. Wow. He has no interest in picking up the microphone and answering that question. So it was a comedy show, but it was a very, very different type of comedy show. It was one guy, one story that lasted about an hour, and the way he told it was kind of funny, and there were comedic elements in it, but it really wasn't a quote-unquote comedy show.
I guess, though, a lot of the channels that I watch, that we all watch, a lot of us, me included, use humor and some little kind of like side steps to lighten the dark heaviness. Like dark comedy is often, or dark humor is often a way for people to manage through the heaviness of true crime. Interesting, though, to make it an actual comedy show.
Yeah, let me look up on my schedule when that was and how they build it exactly. This is down at the end of the day. Oh, Mike King. I didn't even talk about the Mike King show that I went to on the FLDS. I forgot I went to that one. That was one that I wasn't sure I wanted to go to, but I was glad that I did, because Mike Watkus is the former Current Affair reporter, like from the 90s. Remember Current Affair in the 90s?
Yeah, we still have it here.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah, I don't watch it. I think.
But that was like the National Enquirer of true crime TV, right? Current Affair. But he was a Current Affair reporter that was like boots on the ground. He was in Brentwood the day that they found Ron and Nicole. He was there. He was there in London for Princess Di's funeral. He was there in New Orleans for Hurricane Katrina. I mean, this guy was like boots on the ground, like the ultimate boots on the ground. And he and Mike King are good friends, like really good friends, because they both done deep dives and boots on the ground for the FLDS. So I did a meet and greet with Mike King. I'm looking for the comedy show. Only cocktail hour. No, that's not it. Tear at the theater. When was the comedy show? Ms. Woozy, you're going to have to help me. The schedule is long. That's on Sunday. It wasn't on Sunday.
That's what she said, Joe. Ms. What the Fuck says, like, should we be concerned about him being the cause of things? Like, is he the Mothman? Woozy says it was Saturday night.
All right, I'm going to Saturday. All right, there's 9 a.m. We got to scroll down.
7 p.m., she says.
There's lunch break. 7 p.m. Gosh, I thought it was later than that. Maybe that's why I scrolled past it. 6:45, 7 p.m. There's cocktail hour. I only see a cocktail hour at 7 p.m. on Saturday. Oh, Wisecrack, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Mountain Time. There we go.
Wisecrack. Does it say the name of? Akasha asked, "What was the name of what was the guy's name?"
From bullied kid to breakout comic, Ed Hedges. Ed with 2 D's. EDD. Ed Hedges brings his darkly hilarious true crime story to the stage in Wisecrack, a genre-defying live comedy event at CrimeCon Denver. When Ed Hedges returned to his hometown for a charity gig, he didn't realize he'd find himself headlining the most terrifying night of his life, a downward spiral in a small town shaken by murder. Experience the comedy set that sparked the new hit True Crime podcast by Tenderfoot. So what happened was this guy that was one of his bullies unalived his entire family like a couple of houses down from Ed, and Ed had come back, and that guy like ran out of his house and went over to Ed's house and was like pounding on the door in the middle of the night trying to get in, and probably maybe would have unalived his family too.
Yikes. And how old was he roughly? Like, when was this? When was that in his past?
I
In the
have
90s?
no idea.
Yikes.
No idea. I don't remember the timeline. Yes, we went to dinner at 7 and we barely made it up there. That's right, Ms. Woozy. Dinner at 7 and it was packed. So Saturday, let's talk about how crowded it got on Saturday.
Let's.
Because Thursday was really light traffic. I mean, the line to get into the welcome party was long, like blocks and blocks long, but you can make blocks and blocks line out of, a couple thousand people. There were 7,500 total ticketed people to CrimeCon, 7,500. They weren't all in line on Thursday. They didn't all come on Friday, but they all came on Saturday. They were all there Saturday. Like our usual Uber ride was about 10 minutes. On Saturday morning, it was like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Because
Gosh.
they had no traffic control. And when we're still like a half mile away, we're sitting in dead stop traffic. And you have 2 lanes of traffic and there's one stoplight to get into the convention center. And people would go flying up on the right side and then they would cut in line when they got up to the stoplight. And it's funny because we're in an Uber and Ms. Woozy goes, well, those must be Uber drivers. And she goes, oh, I didn't mean you. Talking to our Uber driver.
Yeah, Kasha says, I would have been like, let me out. I'm paying you and I'm going to walk the rest of the way. Did they charge you extra because of that duration? I know in a taxi, obviously, the meter's ticking over, but Uber's different?
No, they couldn't charge us extra. So we get up there and we're like, okay, don't take the line to the right because that's where the parking lot is. And that's where most of the people are parking their vehicles on the parking lot. So they've all got like rental cars and stuff. So we're like, you can drop us off on the left side and we'll walk over. He goes tearing off to the left. He like hammers the gas pedal and there are people crossing the street in front of us. I'm like, oh Lord, don't let us be involved in a hit and run. Because he was getting impatient because it was taking so long and he was only making like $10. I mean, if we
did you flick him a little bit of extra
absolutely,
cash?
absolutely. Yeah. I gave him a tip that was like equal to our original fare. I gave him like an extra $10.
Nice. Simi, before we go any further, but while we're talking about the sheer volume of people, Simi wonders, so if you buy the ticket, does it cover all of the days? Or is it 800? Like, do you buy a ticket to CrimeCon, or do you buy a ticket? Can you buy day 1, day 2, day 3, or how does it work?
You can do both. So originally they sell you the entire event, and then as it gets closer to it, if they're not sold out, then they will open up individual day tickets. Like as you get closer to it.
Right. And that makes sense because people who work regular 9 to 5, Monday to Friday kind of jobs obviously would find it hard to go on the Friday or the Thursday, but the Saturday, everybody's going.
Everybody went. And so when we got to dinner Saturday night, before we went to the wisecrack thing, we're down in the bar area with like the half a dozen restaurants around it. And we go to check reservations and I go to check in and they're like, yeah, it's an hour wait. And we're like, we got to be in the comedy show. We got to be up at Wisecrack in an hour. We can't wait an hour. But we did. So we were a little bit late, but they started the show a little bit late. They didn't start it actually till like 8:30. So we were good. We got there like literally as it was starting. It was perfect timing.
So you said there was the bar and then there was a bunch of restaurants around. Because you were staying an Uber drive away. Obviously, you got there in the morning, spent the whole day there, did everything until the end of whatever you're doing, and then head back to your accommodation, right?
Correct. Yeah, and there were. Go ahead.
Carry on. Oh, you go.
No, so there is always an Uber driver within like 5 minutes of the convention center because they know
Right.
there's like 7,500 people there. I'm going to get in. I'm just going to go camp out within like a mile of the convention center, and I'll get a bunch of rides
Yeah.
tonight, and they did.
How was the food then? Because you're basically a captive audience there at the convention center. Was it overpriced, reasonably priced? Was it good food? Was it shit food? Give us your assessment.
For the most part, the food in those restaurants was really good. So you remember I talked about earlier, if you walked through a little walkway to the other bar and restaurant, I really liked their food. Their food was good. They had a decent menu and it was reasonably priced. That night, we got pizza at a different restaurant because the line was the shortest and we could go sit down. We actually sat down right next to Trisha from Web Sleuths. She was there already eating. I ordered a brick oven pizza from there, and it was the worst, most overpriced pizza I have ever had in my life. It was horrible. Like I should have sent it back. I'm so bad about that. I hate sending food back, but I absolutely
nice.
should have sent that back.
So an important question while we're talking about pizza. Does pineapple belong on pizza, Joe Schmoe, for you?
I love a good pizza with barbecue sauce, red onion, ham, and pineapple.
Good. I'm not a fan of barbecue sauce on pizza, and that's by the by, but definitely pineapple. One's in the chat if pineapple belongs in pizza. 2, if you're a weirdo. I mean, 2 if no.
You're going to stir up a controversy on your channel here.
Oh, this is what we do here, Joe. You know that. You're usually part of the controversy. Simi says gross. Simi says gross. Simi says 69. Of course, we have this always. Akasha says add bacon, take off the barbecue. Okay, so you had quite late nights, but I get the feeling, Joe, you're light on sleep, large on getting shit done in life in general. So I feel like it probably didn't really impact you too much. Am I right?
It took me a good week to catch up on the sleep that I normally get, which isn't much, but I got less than usual at CrimeCon, and I don't regret it for a second.
Of course, you can do anything for a short period of time, right? Because also, I know for myself, and I assume for you also, Joe, being an empath, when I'm surrounded by a lot of people, I absorb all that energy. And you're not just talking about regular crowd energy at CrimeCon, are you? For example, the Delphi family panel. That's a lot of heavy emotion to carry. Did you feel drained or energized by that energy with all those people ultimately?
I felt drained but motivated.
Right.
Like motivated like you would not believe. Like I came back and I started setting up my studio and I'm like, I have the energy for this now. Like I have more purpose in life just internally. Just like I felt so motivated. It was heavy at times. It was, but the connections that I made with people helped re-energize me. Like an empath can like take on the negative energy, but an empath can also take on positive energy. And I did so much that it was amazing.
That's awesome. Your studio looks fantastic, by the way. Looks great. Love it. Very profesh.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm not sure I like the green though. I may go with a different color, but I can't change it manually. So we'll see.
I love the green. I've got, it's hard to tell. The pink, the little pink one there above my finger actually says Shorty, but that's the lowest wattage. Like there's three brightnesses, and
Yep.
that's the least bright, and you can't see it. So I'll probably have to buy another one. But anyway, eventually. Ms. What the Fuck says the green looks great, Joe, but also isn't green your channel? Like that's your logo's got the
It
green
is.
and stuff.
It is.
So
That's why I
makes,
picked it. Yeah.
yes, perfect sense. Perfect sense. Okay, so then Sunday you did some creator row stuff. That's when you were lining up. Well, you were there bright and early for Vinny, right?
Yes, that's when I got to go spend some time with Vinny, and then I had some other real life projects that took over. So I actually went and hung out in the hallway between the convention center and the hotel, and I did some creative work. I didn't go to any more sessions on Sunday.
Okay, and then you flew out later that night.
Yes. Yeah. So I hung out in the hallway till like 3 o'clock, and then all of a sudden, all of the people. So we had a group of us, Ms. Woozy and Trisha, and gosh, I wish I could remember the gal that was going around with Trisha, because I hung out with her quite a few nights too, and she was really cool. She's from Texas, and I'm sorry I don't remember your name if you're watching. Maybe Ms. Woozy remembers her name, the gal that was with Trisha from Web Sleuths. But anyway, Lauren was there, Grayson was there, Ms. Woozy was there, all hanging out before we all had to leave. I had to leave first, so I got up around 3 o'clock and gave everybody a hug, and then I ordered my Uber to the airport. And you could take a train to get you within like a block of the airport, and it's like, no, I'm going to take an Uber that's going to drop me off right at the pickup spot. I go out to get my Uber. He says he's going to be there in 5 minutes, and then it says 4 minutes. Mad Magoo, yes. Mad Magoo, yes. That was the gal that's from Texas that was with Trisha. But I go out to get in my Uber, and he says, I'm in a Toyota Camry, and I'm here. And I look around, and so you have to understand the Uber and Lyft, like the private transport area, is different than like the taxi pickup and like the limo drop off at the main entrance. They're off on a side entrance. So you have to walk all the way down to the side entrance. And you're standing there with like 40 other people who are all waiting for their Uber and Lyft. And cars are pulling up, and people are connecting, and they're getting in, and they're going, and they're getting in, and they're going. And this guy texted me, and he's like, I'm here. I'm here in a Toyota Camry. I look around.
I was going to say a white Toyota Camry might possibly be the most common possible rideshare vehicle there is.
But there was not a single one to be found.
Oh, I was thinking you'd say, which one is it? Which one is it?
No, there wasn't one. So I walked like half of the sidewalk. I walked like 200 feet down the sidewalk that way. I walked like 300 feet down the sidewalk that way. I'm like, dude, I do not see a Toyota Camry anywhere. He's like, I'm right here. I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So he ends up canceling that. So I have to order another one. The other one shows up, and then I get in and I go to the airport. He drops me off at arrivals instead of departures at the Denver airport. And the Denver airport is like the 4th busiest in the United States.
I'm going to have to ask you, tell us about Blucifer.
About what?
Do you not know about Blucifer? The giant blue horse with red eyes, the statue at the front. Is that is Denver International the same as Denver Domestic?
Probably.
Wait, I have to show you. Oh my God. Did you go and look under the tunnels? Did you go and look?
I didn't know. I was just looking.
Okay.
I was looking for TSA pre-check.
Okay. I'm going to have to show you this. Wait, I'm so bad at this stuff. Hang on. What do we do here? Share screen. I can't. Blucifer is hectic. And the sculptor who designed this, I'm pretty sure Blucifer fell on him and killed him.
What?
So this is Blucifer. This is out the front of Denver Airport. He has red eyes. He's got a veiny. I'm sorry. He has a veiny kind of penis as part of it. Like I said it quietly because we're trying. Oh, why am I a circle? Wait, we'll go back to this. Yeah, Google it. I'm so bad at photos on screen. Ms. What the fuck would probably be much better at doing. Here, look, wait. Can you see that photo there? Why is it so small? Right? It's called Blucifer. I mean, there's a rabbit hole you could go down. I mean, wild stuff. Did you see all the murals? Yeah, right. I'm so bad. Why can't I can never. Ms. What the fuck is so much better at this stuff than me.
My mom raised horses, and that cracked me up. Oh my god! I think
Ms. What the fuck's doing it for us. Thank you, Ms. What the fuck. You're so much better at this stuff than me. Look at this.
Never seen that.
And everything.
I have been through Denver Airport many times, like at least a dozen times, maybe 24. But mostly through, this is the first time in a long time that I've actually stopped in Denver, and I did not stop to look at that. That's
what's that one, Ms. What the fuck? What's that one there that looks like it's got a bunch of people? No, below that one, that's got a bunch of people standing in front of it. That's a cartoon. Anyway, yeah, wow. There's a lot of conspiracy theories, and there we go. There's the sculptor.
oh, so he had a small replica that he copied off of to do the bigger one. Interesting.
I guess so. That's what she said. Next time, if there is a next time, go and have a look. Go and have a look. It's quite the. It's got like red devilish eyes. Ms. What the fuck? Thank you so much for doing that. I don't know why. I do know why. I'm such a Generation X boomer. I cannot do almost anything. There's his dick. Wow, sorry, but there.
And a golden mane and a golden tail, or brass or bronze or whatever.
I'm not sure, but
if
it's
he's
very.
Blue, is he copper that's been like turned blue? Or is he like...
I don't know enough about it, but maybe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. No, I think it's painted blue. I'm not sure. No, it's cast fiberglass sculpture of a Oh, wait, that's a blue Mustang. Wait, what? Is a Mustang a horse? I guess it is, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a wild horse.
A blue Mustang. It's a blue Mustang, colloquially known as Blucifer, is a cast fiberglass sculpture of a Mustang located at Denver International Airport. So maybe it's you. I don't know about the location of arrivals and departures for international versus domestic. Anyway, there's a little side quest. We always go on a side quest to Camp Short.
We do. That was interesting.
Simi says no, he represents the Denver Broncos. Akasha says that there's a bunch of crazy murals and paintings in there too, isn't there? And there's a whole system underneath of tunnels and I believe there's a railway track under there that they say is to get the staff around underneath so they don't have to contend with crowds. No. Check it out, Joe. You might fall down a rabbit hole.
I actually went the other way. So I've been through the Denver airport enough to know with layovers, and my layovers have been anywhere from like 2 hours to like 12 hours. So I know the best restaurants are on the top floor. So that's where I always go when I'm on a layover. I go to the top floor. There's a really good Mexican restaurant up there. Really good.
Nice. So, okay. Now, Akasha says it goes to another airport they don't use. Yes, I think there's actually a Stephanie Harlow episode on Blucifer. I digress. So Joe, give us what was your, I know you said you felt like invigorated, inspired, motivated, and sort of rejuvenated to get to move your own channel and sort of mission along. Do you have a top three? Top three takeaways, or even top one, and top three experiences from CrimeCon.
Well, we've already talked about two of the top three experiences, and that was asking questions for Delphi and for Lori Daybell for those sessions. I wouldn't say this is one of my top three, but I also didn't mention that I did ask a question the author at the end of the Authram session.
Yes.
And she took a good 5 minutes to answer it, which is a long time to stand up there at the microphone just quietly listening to their answer. But their new IgG technique is like revolutionary, and it was used in Idaho 4 to catch Brian Kohberger and to match his DNA to the DNA on the knife sheath. So they talked about that, obviously, because Stacy Chapin was up there with her.
Yes.
But she described in detail what that IgG process is, and going to a database that opens up the possibilities of a match, like by the factor of 1 million from the traditional CODIS method. And CODIS method is actually state sponsored. Like states give money to have CODIS like used in their state. And there may even be federal money involved. I don't know. I haven't studied it enough to know. But so I went up and I said, so IGG hasn't been tested in court that much. So how do you see it holding up in court going forward? And do you see like defense attorneys challenging it with defense experts? And she said, absolutely, defense experts are going to challenge it. She goes, but every case that it's been heard on to date has been successfully rebutted. The challenge from defense has been successfully rebutted. And she said, one of the things that we do is once we get the IGG match is we do a reverse match through CODIS. And we make sure that that CODIS reverse match is a match also as well.
It's a bit like, not really, but it's a little bit like a polygraph, which isn't it's an investigative tool, right? So IGG is like an investigative tool, same. Like it's not the be all and end all, but it's a great little door opener to then, like you say, reverse engineer and get back to actually finding that person. The issue with CODIS, though, right, is that if a person isn't already in the system, then their DNA isn't in the system.
Exactly, and if they use up the DNA sample to try and match it through CODIS, it can be gone forever, and they could not ever get a match in the future. If they have a very small sample, then it can be a problem. And I don't still understand completely yet how IGG can better utilize that sample, but I believe it can. Like it opens up the door to millions of possible matches as opposed to just limited to whoever is already in the CODIS system.
Yes. So was Stacey Chapin the only Idaho 4 family member representative? I think I recall that seeing when I was looking through all the speakers and stuff.
Yeah, and I did go to the meet and greet, and I did get a picture of her, and that was really cool. And then I sent it to Salty, and Salty was like, "Oh, that makes my day," because she's really, she's really into the Idaho 4. She knows way more about it than I do, but it was really cool to. And I told them, so when you do the meet and greets, so the meet and greets are included, like I said before, in your CrimeCon ticket. You just have to get there to be in a position in line to be able to actually meet and greet them in the time allotted. And if it's a really long line, you may not get to do it. But you can talk with them on a very limited basis. And there are some people that try and talk to them a little longer. And there are some people that recognize that other people want to have pictures taken with them and like limit their comments. So when I met them, I said, first of all, I want to thank you for the session today. I learned so much. And I said, also, I think you are two amazing women doing amazing work. And that was it.
That's lovely.
And then they started arguing about between the two of them who was more amazing. She said, "You're more amazing." "No, you're more amazing." And then she said, "No, we're more amazing together."
Probably very true. Synergistic effect. I do recall people slinging shit or saying it was suspicious, people on Twitter, that the Chapins had involvement with Othram, but
they showed a picture of the Chapins going to Houston to visit Othram, and it was literally like 2 months ago or a month ago. It was after
yes, after
the plea agreement and the sentencing and all of that. It was after that, before they ever showed up in Houston at Othram. So I don't subscribe to those, but it feels icky. So without more evidence, exactly. I'm not going to go there.
I just think it's a ludicrous assertion, but some people, when people are hell bent on perpetuating a particular angle, wherever that may be, people just make shit up and make shit up. Make shit up. Woozy says, I kept dragging Joe over to people I wanted to talk to. What, was Joe your emotional support, Joe? Ms. Woozy?
No, she and I have like opposite personalities, and she explained this before, I think maybe on my channel. She has social anxiety that causes her to talk more, and I have social anxiety that causes me to talk less. So we're kind of balancing, but we both have that social anxiety going on. She's like, come over here. And I'm like, okay. And I got to meet a lot of cool people that I may not have without having her with me that time. So I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. I would need a Ms. Woozy next to me. I would be just going, no, I can't. I'm an over talker, but I'm also not. I wouldn't have approached. So like, I'm a blend of you two, Joe. I think the two of you. I'm like, I would have over talked, but I also would have needed someone to drag me over there. And once I was there, I'd be like, bah! Oh my goodness!
Meeting Colby was awesome. That was a good experience because we're standing there, we're just casually talking in like a small group in the hallway outside of one of the rooms, and he started talking about, so I met him at Lori Daybell's trials, right? Because he came as a family member several times. Never felt comfortable to approach him in that situation ever. Never felt comfortable approaching Ray Hermosillo or Nick Balance. But meeting him at CrimeCon, he was much more relaxed, and you could see it on him. He actually addressed that. He's like, the environment at trial was just so tense. And he goes, it's just so much better to be here in a much more relaxed environment. And he was smiling, and it was a genuine smile. And he was genuinely like interacting, just like, and happy to meet people and happy to take pictures. And probably, okay, we're going to get back to your question from like 5 minutes ago. What was one of my favorite experiences?
Yes.
There's a gal that comes up from the side, and she's like, oh my gosh, Colby, I'm such a big fan. Can I get a picture of you? And it was there in that environment in the hallway, just kind of a natural environment. And then she looks over and she sees Ray Hermosillo over there off to the left. She's like, Ray, you got to come and get in this picture too. And he's like, okay, I'll come over and get in the picture too. And then she looks at me and she's like, Joe Schmoe, I watch your channel. You got to get in this picture too. And I was like, what?
That's so cool.
I was like, she wants me in a picture with Colby and Ray. I'm like, that was so humbling and so amazing. And whoever that was, I don't remember your name. I absolutely cannot remember all the names of all the people I met, but everybody I met was fantastic. And thank you for that. I appreciate that.
That's so cool. What an amazing experience. So you're planning to go. The next one's like not that far away. Isn't it in March?
End of May. End of May.
And you're in an M month. Why are they doing it so quickly? Do they do them about every 8 or 10 months to cha-ching? It feels like a cha-ching to me, Joe.
It could very well be. It could very well be.
Ms. Woozy says, I told you they were fawning. Where's the next one? And are you going? I saw before there's a...
Yeah, it's in Las Vegas. It's at Caesar's Palace.
That's right. Yes.
I have my tickets already, and I have my room booked and paid for already. Yes, I'm going.
Look at you. How exciting. Well, we will have to wait. Someone said, Joe, are you going to have a booth next time? I think it might have been Ms. What the fuck. You have to apply to have a booth, right? And I know some pretty big channels and creators who've been declined a booth at CrimeCon, even so. That's nothing personal, Joe.
No. I have no interest in having a booth. I know people that do have a booth, like Finny Politan and Gigi from Pretty Lies and Alibis.
Yes. Wait, pause. Carry on. And then did you meet Gigi? But carry on with your answer. You know people that do have a booth?
Yeah, I have no interest in having a booth. It doesn't seem like a productive use of my time. I would rather wander around the hallways and just run into people like
And
Colby. And
they cost a lot, man. It
they
costs
probably
a
do.
lot. I believe it's in the many thousands. Don't
Probably.
quote me. So so you met Gigi? She's lovely.
I actually met Gigi at Lori Daybell's trials.
Lovely. Yep. So did you run into her around the
I
traps
did.
at CrimeCon?
We
Lovely.
met on Thursday night. We met again at Thursday night at the welcome party. She just has a wonderful energy about her, and she's just so caring. And she was just like, "Oh, it's so good to see you again." And then we stood there and talked for a little bit, and I started to tell her about the Oklahoma story that I'm covering, and then we got interrupted. And then she came back to me and said, "So keep telling me about that story."
That's
And
awesome.
it was, and I did, and she was like, "Good job, keep on it," type of thing. Like, you're doing a good job.
Nice.
And so that was so encouraging to hear that from her. Vinny said the same thing. He's like, "Good job, keep on it." And so that was very encouraging. Those are two of my other favorite memories too. I have so many good memories. Like, it was a wonderful experience.
Excellent. I'm so glad. Listen, Joe, thank you so much. Wait, chat before we wrap it up, because we do have another stream, but there's no hard, we're flexible time. It's a construct. Does anybody have any specific questions for Joe that we maybe haven't covered about his time at CrimeCon? I will let it roll with that delay and see if anybody's got anything. Brooklyn says, Joe Schmoe, thanks. Yes, Joe
Thank you,
Schmoe.
Brooklyn. Thank you, Brooklyn. Thank you to all the Shorties. Thank you, Camp Shorty, for having me on.
Of course. It's been too long. I think we might have covered everything, Joe.
All right. Awesome.
Someone might be typing. Yes. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, we haven't covered everything, but I can't.
You did make that clear in the beginning. You said to me, I can spill some of the tea, not all of it. Oh, I just axed it off the screen. Joe Schmoe, when will you admit that you're a celebrity?
Oh, that's funny.
It's been quite delightful, Joe, watching you blush with humble embarrassment about those things. But Ms. Woozy was there, and I don't think she's pumping up your tires just to be a sycophant. I think she's probably right on the money.
She was so fun to hang out. Like, her energy level is like the complete opposite of mine, and that was so awesome to hang out with her. Like, you need somebody like that in your life, and especially when you're going to an event like this, like, somebody bring the energy. She brought the energy. She was there for the whole thing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. All right, Joe. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna bid you farewell. Thank you for repping your Camp Shorty mug. I appreciate you very much, and thank you for your time tonight. When are you streaming next?
I was going to stream this morning and I didn't. So the answer is I don't know.
We're flexible around here. You can do what you want on YouTube. That's the best thing about it, isn't it?
Right.
Not what you want, but you can make your own. You can absolutely set your own schedule. There are some rules and limitations, obviously.
Right. And so my producer is always on my case. She's like, you got to be consistent on YouTube. You got to like consistently have content, but I personally can't just get on YouTube just to be on YouTube. I can't just go and just do any old thing, like pull up news stories and just like go over news stories. I can't do that. I want to be more meaningful than that. I want to be more intentional than that. That's just where I'm trying to head, in the direction I want to go and who I want to be. I want to be more intentional.
So the bottom line with that is, make sure you're subscribed to Joe Schmoe's channel and have that notification bell on, so that whenever Joe's going live or puts out a video or a short, you will see it. You will know about it. It's always the moral of the YouTube story, isn't it?
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you, Joe. I will catch you. Maybe stick around. I hear you're a bit of a good cook, so maybe if you're around, you can throw a few recipes our way.
I do have a favorite recipe that was my first ever from Food Network Food Network. Have my favorite.
Beautiful. Save it, and we'll catch you in the next stream. Thanks, Joe. Everybody say thank you to Joe Schmoe. Bye.
Bye.
So, chat, what a great, just a nice fluid conversation. We really appreciate Joe Schmoe and Ms. Woozy in the chat for filling us in. Thanks, Joe. Bye, Joe. Hopefully Joe will be on in the morning with Salty. Good point. Good point. I just had a brain buffer. So with that, Shorties, thank you for being here on a Wednesday night. Don't you worry, we're going to just have a relaxed hang, throwing about some ideas for a Camp Shorty cookbook. That's coming up next. There is a portal set for that, so you don't need to go anywhere and you don't have to come with actual typed out written things. It's just going to be like a throwing spaghetti at the wall, throwing ideas around, all of the above, to sort of brainstorm our very first Camp Shorty cookbook. Thank you, Ms. What the Fuck. Thank you to my beautiful moderators for being here, friends, Shorties. Good to see you all. If we don't see you in the next stream, no, that's fine. You might have to go to bed. I don't know. You might have other things to do. We'll see you Friday and Saturday night. As always, we're continuing with the Jesse Koshevsky trial, the eye drops murder trial, day 3 and day 4, I think, and that. So let's go out with Chaddy's Bay. I'll see you all in a minute. Stick around. There's a song there ready for you to listen to while I just use the bathroom, etc., etc. And we'll see you all in a minute. Mwah! I love you all very much. Thanks, Joe Schmoe. We appreciate you.
I love you all so very much. We had a blast just chatting and stuff. Things may have gone a bit off the rails. Professional when all else fails. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. We're skating through all the tough things, learning about this and that, defense motions, prosecution, and narcissistic twats. 'Cause chat is babe, so much to say. Emotes and all the all caps out. May have been cheese, bit faster please. The time has come, Camp Shorty out. Community, just you and me. Occasionally Buster and Poppy. It's the whole thing. Miss Shorty swing. Together we make each other happy.